So it is Tuesday, April 20th. It is 6:05 p.m. and I will call to order the organizational meeting of the Common Council of the City of Platteville. Tonight we're meeting primarily via Zoom. Adam, is there anyone in the council chambers with you?
There is. We have Jody, and then we also have Steve Prestegard from the Platteville Journal is here. So,
And Jody. Okay. I was like, is Jody a student? But no, I think
No.
Jody is. I think it's Jody. Okay. Sorry. Candace. Roll call.
All right. Arts.
Here.
Killian.
Here.
Nichols.
Here.
Doss.
Here.
Stanley.
Here.
Cop.
Here.
Klein.
Here.
Okay, the first order of business we have tonight is administration of the oath of office. And do we have to do these all separate or one at a time? Is that Candace? I guess you do this, right?
Yeah, we typically do them individually.
Okay, sounds good. I have my paper ready.
All right, let's go with you first then. So I'm just gonna have you raise your right hand and repeat after me. So I state your name,
I, Barbara Dawes,
having been elected or appointed to
having been elected or appointed to the office of Alderperson, District 3,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
and will faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
And then I would ask that you sign, and then I will sign below you as the clerk.
Oh, I shall sign this now. Do I have to show it to you?
You can come into the office, that way we can sign it together.
Oh, that would be a good idea. I had printed it out. I thought that would probably be, since you have to subscribe and sworn, that
Right.
it would have to be done in person.
Correct.
Okay, moving on.
All right. Next up, I have Ken, if you're ready.
Raise my right hand.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me, please. So I state your name,
I, Ken Killian,
having been elected or appointed to
having been elected to the office of
Alderperson District 4,
Alderperson District 4,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office to my best of my ability.
discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
All
So help me
right.
God.
And James, I have you up next.
Oh.
So I state your name.
You need to raise.
I, Jason Arts,
Oh, excuse me. Yes, thank you. Raise your right hand. Having been elected or appointed to
having been elected or appointed to
the office of Alderperson at Large,
the office of Alderperson at Large,
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin,
and will faithfully and impartially
and will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
discharge the duties of said office to the best of my ability.
All right. And then, yep, I will just ask for all three of you to come into the office as soon as you can, and we will sign these together. That way you guys can have a copy and we will keep a copy as well.
All right, sounds good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
congratulations to all of us, right?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is the election of the council president.
I would nominate Barb Dawes as council president.
I will second that.
Okay, we have a nomination and a second.
Any
Additional,
other nomination?
thank you, Candace.
All right, so we have a nomination by Eileen for Barbara Doss and a second by Robin. And we will vote. I guess first I should ask Barb Doss, do you have an issue with that nomination?
No, I don't.
Okay. So we will vote on that nomination. Arts,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes,
Nichols,
Yes,
Doss, I guess, Shanley,
No.
Kopp,
Yes.
and Klein.
Yes.
All right, motion carries.
Okay. And I will continue to designate Eileen as pro tem.
Okay,
Election of the Plan Commission member. Candace, can I make a nomination?
yes,
I nominate Isaac Shanley.
I have a question.
go ahead.
How long has Isaac served on the Plan Commission?
I think Isaac has served one term, right?
I do
One
believe
term.
1 year.
One term,
term.
okay. You can serve 2 terms. 1 year, we had somebody going beyond 2 terms.
So
I
nom-
believe it was Robin before Shanley.
So I nominate
Correct.
Isaac.
Do I have a second?
Second,
Isaac, are you okay with serving again?
Sure.
Okay.
All
Candace
right,
will
any
vote.
other nominations? No? Okay, we will vote. Arts,
Yes.
Killian,
yes,
Nichols,
yes,
Doss,
Yes,
Shanley,
Sure. Yes.
Kopp,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Motion carries.
it's a bit hard to determine a seating arrangement at this time, so until we move back to the council chambers in the summer, I suspect that we should probably just not worry about that. I don't, okay?
You
All
can
right.
table it if you want, yeah.
Yeah, we'll just, I mean, it's kind of weird to, people haven't even seen the council chambers in the new desks, so, and the new arrangement, maybe. So we'll work on that come the summer. Okay, there are 3 action items on our agenda tonight. First is Resolution 2106, designation of the official newspaper, Platteville Journal.
All right, so we are putting forth again the designation of the official newspaper to be for the city of Platteville, to be the Platteville Journal. This is what we've done in the past, and we will put all of the publications and official business will be posted in this newspaper.
motion.
Okay,
I move to assign the Platteville Journal as the official newspaper for the city of Platteville.
I'll second.
okay, we have a motion by Ken and a second by Kathy. We'll vote.
Arts,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes,
Nichols,
yes,
Doss,
Yes,
Shanley,
Yes.
Kopp,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes.
Motion carries.
okay, the second item on our agenda tonight is Resolution 2107. This is shared revenue funding support resolution. Adam.
Yes, so this is something, and obviously the League of Municipalities meetings that I attend regularly on a normal basis has been a priority that they have talked about, really to increase shared revenue funding and to make that a priority, obviously, in this state budget. So as you can kind of see in the staff note, it just provides a brief update where between state budget cuts and inflation, the program overall has declined 49% in inflation adjusted dollars over the last 30 years. So what the league is asking is for member municipalities to join in passing the attached resolution calling on the legislature to pass a state budget increasing funding for the shared revenue program, and then directing the city clerk to send a copy of this resolution to the state legislature representing the city of Platteville. It would also be our intention that we would obviously provide this information to our media sources, so Herald, as well as promoting this on our social media pages. So one of the things obviously that I did add was yesterday I sent everybody, which I will also provide to our various media sources, was a kind of PowerPoint presentation that had a couple of different graphs that really shows you over kind of the last couple of years what has happened to not only net new construction versus the consumer price index. And when you look at that particular graph, you can see despite 1 year, historically, the city of Platteville's net new construction has definitely been below the consumer price index.
Adam,
Yes,
can you share that or not?
I can certainly try. Let's see here. Oh,
In case the students maybe don't have access to this information, so it's kind of hard for them to understand what you're talking about.
let me see here. You guys see my screen?
We do.
Yes, sir.
So this is obviously the first one. So this is net new construction versus the consumer price index. So obviously, just to kind of recap again, net new construction is the amount of new construction reduced by any demolitions or deconstruction of buildings, and may include corrections to the prior year. So essentially, every year when our building inspector and also our assessor goes out and looks at does the assessment roll, they take into account any new construction that was done versus obviously any demolition of buildings, and comes up with a number. That percentage is then basically calculated by dividing the current year net new construction by the prior year's equalized value of a municipality or county. So as you can see here, the consumer price index, again, is a measure of the average change over time in the prices paid by urban consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. So the blue line obviously is the city's net new construction, and the gray line is the CPI. So as we kind of indicated, unfortunately, I wasn't able to pull data for 2011 and 2012. But as you can see, really, despite 1 year around 2014, which I believe was due to, as we kind of talked about, was a potential reevaluation and some changes. Other than that, we have pretty much since about 2016 have lagged in, the CPI versus net new construction. So that obviously plays an impact when we're talking about levy limits and the city's ability to obviously generate revenue, to stay competitive with obviously the consumer price index. The next slide here just kind of shows you state shared revenue payments. So obviously these are revenue payments that we get directly from the state, which includes a county and municipal aid payment. So it's distributed to Wisconsin municipalities and counties in July and then November of each year under state statute 79.02. And as you can see, since 2000, we continue to see kind of a reduction in state shared revenue. We've seen some increases, but overall from where we were from 2012, we have definitely seen a slight reduction over the years. The next one is state aid municipal service payments. So with this particular purpose of the municipal service payment program is to make an equitable annual payment to Wisconsin municipalities from a specific state appropriation in recognition of critical services directly provided to state agencies and UW facilities located therein during the prior calendar year. So again, because we have the University of Wisconsin-Platteville, we do receive a state aid municipal service payment. So again, the intent of this statute when it was created and the effect of the program guidelines is that the aid in the reduction of local real property taxes by making a state contribution towards the cost of certain municipalities provided services financial out of local property tax revenue. So what that means is, if you think about it, obviously with the university being a tax exempt entity, the city is not receiving direct taxes for that entity. So the purpose of this program was essentially to provide municipalities that have those universities and obviously state facilities in their municipality a payment to make up some of those costs. And the three main municipal services that these cost payments are supposed to help cover are obviously related to police, fire, and solid waste pickup. So as you can see, the total appropriation for the 2020 program was funded at $18 million. So that 18 million is obviously spread out throughout the municipalities in the state of Wisconsin that either have a state entity or a UW facility. So looking at the kind of graphical information here, you can see that in 2012, we were getting an annual payment of about $480,000. And as of the most recent budget, we are showing that we are projected to receive about 182,000. So that definitely has been a reduction over the years in regards to the municipal aid payment that we have receiving. And as you can see here is kind of the student enrollment numbers that I was able to find using a data source. And they continue from 2012 to about 2019 with part-time and full-time students be well over about 8,000 as their total enrollment. So although there has been a little bit of a reduction, it has not been to the extent, obviously, that we have seen with the state aid municipal service payment. So then the last one, obviously, that we talk about is general transportation aids. And again, this particularly is, it enables local governments to receive state aid payments to offset the cost of county and municipal road construction, maintenance, and traffic operations. So the funding sources of these aid payments are typically done through the fuel taxes and vehicle registration fees collected by the state. So the distribution of what is called general transportation aid funds is based on a 6-year cost average or a statutorily set rate per mile. Transportation related expenditures and revenues incurred by local governments are necessary factors in the calculation process. So therefore, something to consider is when the city of Platteville, due to budgetary restraints and reductions in revenue, must reduce the number of roads it can repair. This negatively impacts the 6-year average, thus reducing the number of transportation aids the city receives. So as you can see over the years, we have been, pretty stagnant in this, where we've seen some increases, but overall, we continue to hover right about that, anywhere between 589,000 and 630,000 in state aid for transportation. And a lot of that, again, has to do with budgetary, cuts and looking at balancing road repairs. The less road improvements that we do, obviously negatively impacts the amount of state aid. So it's kind of one of those catch-22s where if you don't, repair roads, you're going to see your general transportation aids go down. So that is just kind of the quick summary that I put together to kind of show you some of the impacts that we see in regards to shared revenue. And really, one of the reasons why the league is asking, member municipalities to submit this information to not only the state, but start to get the awareness out in regards to really needing to look at shared revenue as an increase, or finding ways to find alternate revenue sources to help municipalities.
Okay, anybody with questions of Adam on the charts, the graphs that he did for net new construction, general transportation aids, revenue, or municipal services payments? And I know that you're always one that talks about the municipal services payments. You can see that they aren't anywhere near where they used to be. Any questions? Eileen?
No questions.
Kathy?
No questions.
Jason?
Adam, do you have like 2020 or 2021 enrollment numbers? Because don't quote me on this, but I want to say that it's I think we're down like in the 6,000s now in terms of total enrollment at the university.
That I wasn't able to officially pull yet. So the data source I was using was kind of a website that pulled it from other general areas. So that's definitely something I'm going to quote, because that's not, a guarantee that that information is being pulled from a data source. So just like you said, there could be varying factors into that, but that's something I do intend to be kind of finding out from the university what those official numbers are.
Okay.
Ken, any questions on the charts?
No, I just have a general question. What are the reasons given by our legislature by the government as far as why the payments are not keeping up? What are you being told? What are we being told? Besides, don't have money.
That's obviously one of them. The other one obviously is due to state statutes. They may not have changed the formula that creates that. So that's some of the conversations I hear in the meetings is it's a pretty, the formula hasn't changed. Therefore, the money that is being put into these particular, funds or calculations is not going up or down. But a lot of it tends to be, the general thing we have to continue here is what you just said, Ken, is pretty much it's the same issue that we're having. The funding just isn't there to increase, those contributions.
Thank you.
Okay. Isaac, any questions?
No, but I would probably state that I think for the 2014 year, which was the kind of the higher year that we had there, that was the year that the tornado came through Platteville. So that may have resulted in part of the upkeep or the uptick in the net construction on that one there. So
Sure.
Yeah, it sure did look like an anomaly year for some reason. Robin?
and I can tell you because I had to rebuild 2 houses myself plus some other stuff. So if when you get that much of a spike, something happened, particularly that year.
Thanks for that. Robin, any questions?
The university community aid, I think you were kind of implying that it doesn't change with our enrollment changes. If we see a drastic decrease, it's not a formula that has the actual enrollment number in it, correct? Like we won't expect a sharp decline.
That's our hope, and that's my understanding is, if you look at it, essentially in 2012, we were getting almost 500,000. And, since then it's slowly been declining. And so, yeah, that's a legitimate ask, because if you look at the amount of buildings, the main 3 things that payment is supposed to go towards assisting is police, fire, and, water and sewer services. And although the enrollment may be going down, obviously the buildings tend to, continually be updated and renewed, and that does not decrease the cost of obviously our police, fire, and EMS. So yeah, it's kind of that transition of looking at that is that we're hearing across the system that they're having enrollment concerns, but that doesn't decrease the need to obviously have that municipal payment.
Okay, just wanted to clarify. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, and then Adam, the resolution that you have provided in the packet is the same resolution. It's a general resolution asking for an increase in shared revenue. It's not specific to Platteville, but municipalities across the state have been adopting this particular resolution.
That is correct. This is something that has been going on. The league has asked multiple municipalities, and on the calls I've been on, they're all looking at the course of the next couple of weeks of taking up this resolution in support and kind of showing a unified front for ensuring that shared revenue is considered.
Okay, so folks, what's your pleasure on the resolution?
Just a second, Adam, could you go back to the university enrollment numbers? Can you put that screen back up?
Sure. Hold on one sec. Okay. There you go.
All right. Just kind of looking at the numbers here. So for the head count for 2020 for the fall enrollment, fall 2020 total enrollment was 7217 was the head count enrollment for the Platteville main one. And this is coming off the Wisconsin EDU website.
Are you thinking that might include Baraboo and Richland Center?
No, this is just the Platteville main campus.
I'm sorry, the number that Adam got might include those other 2 campuses. I wonder why that discrepancy would be there. Oh, I'm sorry, you're looking at 2019. I was looking at 2019 as quite different from what you were saying, Isaac. So you're adding 2020, saying it's down another 1,000 from 2019.
And
Okay.
The 2019. 2019
Just confused, yes, sir.
So the 2019, based on this website, which I said is the Wisconsin EDU website, for just our main campus here in Platteville, their head count for 2019 was 7,762.
Sorry, I did hear you right. I see on the graph, the 2020 is above the word 2019 one, so that's where I'm confused. But it looks like on Adams, he's got about 1,000 more than what you're stating for 2019. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So Adam, you'll want to go, is that uwsa.edu? Or is it wisconsin.edu? It's the
It's
students.
yeah, it's wisconsin.edu/education/reports/statistics-enrollments. It breaks it right down. You can do every individual campus per year.
Okay. Can you send me that link, Isaac, in an email,
Yep.
and I'll pull that
Yep.
data too? Because yeah, there was like 4 different multiple websites that had numbers, so I can kind of include that in all those to show differences.
And then I think our thought would be that we would send these charts along with our resolution if you're comfortable with the resolution. So now the question is, the resolution 27, shared revenue funding support. Do I hear a motion?
I feel like I have to ask a question that shares my ignorance or something, but what is the implied result of this? We're asking for a request to basically increase state taxes that would come back to the communities, or to accept more federal dollars, or can you clarify what we are asking in this?
Sure. So essentially, the shared revenue is a payment that we get obviously from the state. So the state could look at, obviously varying factors of when they create their budget, and some of that could be a tax. So you're absolutely correct, Robin, is they could make the decision to tax, to make up that difference if they do an increase. Otherwise, it's from their varying, sources of funding that they utilize to make an increase. So it's appropriations that they move money around, or et cetera. I think the issue obviously that we're seeing, or that municipalities are seeing, is that with the continual reduction that we are seeing in shared revenues across the board, from general transportation aids to the municipal service payment to the shared revenue, what that is creating is essentially, it puts on local municipalities to make a decision. And you've got 2 options. Either you are raising taxes to cover for those reductions, or you are having to make a decision on what service you are cutting. And so that is kind of the essential conversation with this, is asking that, since 2012, the majority of municipalities, specifically for us, have either seen it steady and no increase whatsoever, or have seen a reduction over those years. But the need, obviously, for roads and for programs and for services continues to increase for, obviously, our residents. So for us, what we're saying, along with the other municipalities, is kind of lobbying the state that we are asking for assistance, either to increase those shared revenues, or certainly in all the conversations I've had with those legislatures, is to keep it the same, so that we can, from a budgetary standpoint, continue to offer the services that we can to our residents at the lowest cost possible. Otherwise, it comes back to the discussion that the city has to make, which is either you're going to, if that revenue source isn't there, you have 2 options. You're either raising taxes, or you are having a discussion on what service then is going to be reduced in order to cover the cost.
Okay.
And Robin, yes, the likely revenue source for shared revenue, since there has to be, if they're going to give us money, they have to get money from someplace. So I suspect that the largest source of revenue for the money they're giving back is our income tax.
Okay.
Personal income tax, I would assume. I would have to check that, but certainly transportation aids are funded by license fees and highway gas tax and stuff like that. But I think these are primarily funded by the income tax that we pay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, are we going to take any action on this resolution?
Well, I'm in favor of passing the motion.
Okay, so Ken, are you making a motion we adopt resolution 2107?
Yes, I move to officially adopt Resolution 2107, support for a strong state and local partnership.
Okay,
Second, I'll second.
okay, we have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2107 about shared revenue and funding support. Candace will vote.
Arts,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes,
Nichols,
Yes,
Doss,
Yes,
Shanley,
Yes,
Cop,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes,
Motion carries.
who gets a copy of this? Who does it go to? How many people, one or what number?
We are going to send it to anybody and everybody we can. So we will get you the list of who I send it to. But our intention is to send it to everybody.
Good.
okay. C for action tonight is continuation of the city attorney and special counsel for services. Let's go prosecuting services. I can't say that word tonight. Is that you, Nicola?
Yes, that one's me. And so the City of Platteville Charter Ordinance indicates that the appointment of city attorneys is made by a majority vote of the Common Council. And back in 2019, it was decided to bring this forward every year during this organizational meeting so that the council could reappoint current attorneys, which would be Bill Cole of Axley Brynelson for city attorney services and Wood Law Firm for prosecutorial services. And if there was ever a time that we were unhappy with either of those services, we could definitely go through another RFP process. But right now, we are happy with both attorney services. So that is what this staff note is all about.
Okay, questions or comments? Eileen,
no question.
Kathy,
No questions.
Jason,
Nope.
Ken,
No question.
Isaac,
I think they've done a great job this year, so no questions.
Robin.
no questions.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the continuation of services with Bill Cole of Axley Brynelson for city attorney and Ben Wood of Wood Law Firm for special counsel prosecutorial services.
And a second?
Second,
Okay, a motion by Robin and a second by Eileen to approve continuation of our attorney contracts. Candace will vote. We can't.
Arts,
Yes.
Killian,
Yes,
Nichols,
yes,
Doss,
Yes,
Shanley,
Yes,
Cop,
Yes.
Klein.
Yes,
Motion carries.
okay. Adam, we're about to adjourn, but before we do you want to say anything about the work you're doing on getting a request in for what is it called? Project funding with the federal government?
Sure. So obviously, as one of our, with the fire department comprehensive analysis, now that that has been completed, one of the objectives of our strategic plan was to start getting that information out, obviously, to the public, as well as our legislatures, and also looking at opportunities for potential funding, situations. One of those that has occurred with obviously a lot of the stimulus funding that is out there is that congressmen have the opportunity to submit what are called 10 community project funding requests that are going to go to the appropriations committee. So myself, as well as Council President Dawson and Pro Tem Nichols, have been having meetings with Ron Kind's staff in regards to whether or not the fire station potentially would be a suitable project that could be up for consideration. And all of those conversations have indicated that yes, this would be a viable project. So I have been working with not only their staff, but trying to figure out exactly what we need to submit, and working with a lot of our partners to get letters of support. So we have received letters of support from the school district, Southwest Hospital, UW Platteville is currently working on one for us, as well as we reached out to all of the surrounding towns, associations, and they are going to be looking at sending us some information. We're also working with the fire department on kind of having a long seasoned firefighter give us their perspective on the current fire station and kind of changes and processes. And essentially, you know, our plan is the deadline for that is Friday. So we are going to be submitting all of that information and then working with Representative Kind's office to see if that project potentially will be one of the 10 that would be selected to move forward to the appropriations committee for potential federal assistance for a fire station.
And so I would suggest that if anybody has knowledge of anyone who might want to write a letter of support for the fire station, fire service planning, we have our comprehensive review to go ahead. And I know Adam has received several letters. One of the things that we've learned is the more letters we can accumulate, the more support we can show, the more favorable our application. And so if anybody has ideas, certainly talk to Adam. He can kind of facilitate how to get that done. But it would be great if we got some help. So
I have
All
a
right.
question.
go ahead, Ken.
Well, in a previous week, I received 3 emails 3 days late. Has any other council member gotten such similar slow service as compared to me?
You mean 3 emails from city?
Yes,
Huh.
I was having some problems, but I think mine is okay now. I also was experiencing a lag.
Mhm.
Really?
Mhm.
yeah, it's kind of tough keeping up with emails when you don't have them.
You're right. It's kind of tough if you don't have them.
Yeah, I'll reach out to the IT provider and have them take a look at that for you, Ken.
Yeah, we can put in a ticket to see if they can figure out what the problem is.
Anybody else?
Then Adam, could you share that map with the other council persons that I sent to you regarding the central location?
Yes, yep, I will send that.
So what I did is I put a map together on the city of Platteville and I marked off a 2-mile radius from the OE Gray School area, that if the city were to grow in any direction from what it is now, where the city or where that location would be compared to, like, if we drew northwest, northeast, etc. I drew lines in it. It's exactly 2 miles. And that'll show you that no matter which direction we were to grow in that 2 miles, that location is dead center. I know there's been a couple council people that have stated that, maybe out by the hospital, etc. But then you're getting in one direction. Plus, you also have to realize that, obviously they don't pay a major, they don't pay as much as what we support for the fire department. But, you've got the towns of Lima, Ellenboro, Harrison that you're really getting away from if you start going to that southeast sector of Platteville. And, obviously the Belmont Township and down that area would love it because you're right there. But so like I said, that map was just a simple map to show you of what if the platform were to grow, which hopefully we do in all directions, not just one direction, where that would put us with that particular location. So.
Great, thank you.
I wanted to add a note on that subject that hadn't really come up too much yet, in that centrally located does mean that we give up certain things like or have extra noise and traffic, etc. But it would provide another kind of welcome, especially from that Lancaster direction coming into our city, to have a beautiful professional building that greets people. So I did want to just acknowledge that OE Gray location would provide that sort of welcoming appearance of our nice new building. So.
And Kathy, thinking about one of your questions and concerns, I guess, on Adams Street. So I went through Minter Point twice today and on Doty Street, and they have a big light that overhangs Doty Street. So when the fire department's taking off, this big light just starts blinking. And I've actually seen it happen, but today it didn't, thank God. So that's just one option or one thing that could happen is you could do it that way. But there's multiple other ways you could take care of that corner as well.
I'll have to check that out. Didn't know that.
Okay,
When is the 53818 coming out?
the 53818 is out today.
Today?
It was in your, it's in the shopping news. So I have my 53818. So if you got your shopping news today, it should be in your shopping news. And I actually was going to mention that. Thank you, Jody and team for getting that together. Okay, folks, do I hear a motion for adjournment?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Very good. A motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, raise your hand. I don't think we actually need to call the roll here, Candace. I believe you got 7 people who all raised their hand. So thank you all, and we'll see you next week. All right, bye-bye.
Bye.